Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Bryton S500 GPS cycling computer. Bryton is well known for their high-value GPS computers and large portfolio of models that range from entry-level computers to aerodynamic computers. With the new Sport line, Bryton is shifting their focus to the high-end road cycling market with improved hardware and training functionality. The Bryton S500 is the first in that Sport lineup and replaces the Rider 750 as the top-of-the-line computer in the current portfolio. You can see packaging-wise really simple. It's pretty small. We have the full bundle version with all the sensors, but it just looks like a small box. Nice graphic, glossy graphic on top with the S500 printed on there. Some basic profiles and specs on the sides. And on the back, you have the big summary of what this computer is. I'll go ahead and take it out of the box and we'll go over the specs. Retail price on this is $299.95 with just the computer or the bundle version that we have here, which comes in at $375.95. It has a 2.4-inch color screen, 24-hour runtime, which is pretty impressive, with USB Type-C charging. You have the Climb Challenge feature, which is really similar to the Garmin Climb feature, which actually shows you climbs and segments them off for a pre-recorded ride. You have an ambient light sensor, which addresses some of the brightness issues with the previous 750 and makes it automatically adjust. Now in terms of what you get with the computer, you get a ton of things, especially with these bundle. Now we previously opened this so you can see the actual heart rate sensor is already open. So nice heart rate sensor. You can buy this separately as well with a removable sensor portion so you can wash the strap. And then with the little button interface, you can just pop this on again to use it. You get the user manual and the warranty information in here. Pretty intuitive design too with the touchscreen, so you don't really need the manual that much. They include a silicone cover, which is a little bit interesting. So similar to what you'd find with cell phones. So if you're prone to dropping your computer, this is definitely a good option. You can see it fits okay, but obviously not as sleek as a naked look with just the computer. But you can see it mimics the same graphics, covers up the buttons. Then you get a handlebar mount. So pretty simple O-ring design with the hooks, so you can put that on your stem or anywhere else. You get your speed and cadence sensors. So again, standard fare with the other Bryton computers. And then again, a speed sensor. So all of them have the batteries pre-installed, you just have to pop them off. Little Allen key for installing the mount. USB Type-C cable with that 90-degree bend in there. So really nice to see USB Type-C here. And what's really cool about this computer is that they actually include their Sport mount. So usually you just get a cheap plastic mount. But this one you get their $30 aluminum out front mount. And that's why you need the Allen key because it has 2 bolts. So really secure, pops on, and lets you put this right in front of your stem. And you also get a tether. Just in case the computer wants to go flying off, you can make sure it's secure by looping that through the little hook on the bottom of the computer. Now let's take a look at the weight of the computer. So just the computer by itself, that comes in at 86 grams, while the metal Sport out front mount, that comes in at 32. Now let's take a look at the fit and finish of the Bryton S500. It's a pretty distinctive design. You can see the beveled corners here that every Bryton computer has. That makes it stand out. Pretty easy to see it's a Bryton computer too because you have Bryton written right on the front with white lettering and then Bryton underneath the screen. With the S500, this is the Sport line. And with that, it's a little bit sleeker and more aerodynamic. And that means it's a little bit thinner. So you can see the bottom of this is kind of curved in. And then the battery portion doesn't stick out quite as much as the other models. Overall size, pretty similar to the Garmin 800 series. So pretty large with that 2.4-inch screen and pretty large bezels on top and bottom. We'd like to see these being a little bit smaller, but it's a combination of those beveled screens and then the fact that the screen is just a little bit smaller than the body. Visually, it's just black. You have 4 buttons. And I really like the buttons here because they're nice and large and they have nice feel to them. So nice tactile feel, a little texturing on them. 2 on each side with the labels printed right on top. And with so many buttons and a touchscreen, It's very intuitive. You don't have to worry about the context. So each button's action is pretty dependable and reliable. Underneath it, you have the Bryton mount. And what they've done with this model is they actually made it replaceable. So you can see there's 4 screws here. So if this is ever to get damaged, you can unscrew them, replace them. They also offer a $13 Garmin mount. So something I highly recommend. You just unscrew these, put the Garmin mount, and then you can use any of your existing mounts. You also have the USB Type-C port, which we're really excited to see here. That means you can share your normal USB-C cables. And then the lanyard connection here with this little loop, so you can loop the lanyard through that, just to ensure this doesn't go flying off. You can see the screen is quite reflective, as most GPS computers. And then basic interface, so you just hold this to turn it on, and then you get a nice startup sound. And then otherwise nice and responsive, so get GPS really quickly and update the status. Nice responsive touchscreen, which is one of the big upgrades with the S500. As far as the mount, we've actually reviewed this separately. This is the Sport mount, which is about $30 on its own. It's really nice to see here with the computer. And it works really well. So you can see aluminum design. It's aerodynamic with this little smoothed out body. And a one-sided design, although they do offer a little attachment that would go in these screw holes and make this dual-sided. The Bryton mount is identical to a Garmin, except it's a little bit thicker, which makes them incompatible, but same quarter turn style, so you can put it in from either direction. Locks into place, very secure, so no real play. And being an aluminum out front mount, you can see it's very sturdy and really supports the weight easily. So now let's do the initial setup of the S500. You can see it has these nice alerts when it powers up and powers down. You really have only 2 options for the initial setup, language, and being a touchscreen, you can see you don't really have to worry about what button does what or look up the user manual. Just click what you want. And being a color touchscreen, you can see nice user interface. You're not restricted to a grid. So you confirm that, confirm your units. You get a QR code for the Bryton app, which you do need to do syncing data and more of the faster customization options. Then you're actually introduced to the main page. So the main page shows you your bike profile. So 3 different profiles, which is a really nice feature. So if you have multiple bikes, you can share this computer on them and customize the sensors and display. Or even if you only have one bike, you can adjust the display to be specific to maybe road riding or commuting. You have a navigation option, and this is where you need the Bryton app. And you can just use voice navigation, use Google Voice. So once you've connected to it, you can actually just talk to it, find a point of interest. Being a higher end unit, you can also do preloaded routes, so you can set up on the Bryton app or other third-party apps and then bring it over to Bryton. You can do workouts. So this is a really nice feature. And then the smart trainer is where you can actually connect to a trainer and do the erg mode or different workouts and control the trainer directly from here. So a lot of nice features here and something a lot of the higher end cyclists will like to see. As far as the configuration, we're going to do the basics. So we're going to connect a sensor. So I click config. And again, you can see really easy, intuitive use. They've really refined the user interface here. So no misspellings or kind of oddities here. So we'll go to sensors, click plus, cadence. And there you go, found it. So click it, connect. And there you go. So it'll show real-time display and the sensor ID. Once you've connected all your sensors, you're pretty much ready to go. You can customize a lot of display options. So brightness I have in the auto mode by default, and that uses that light sensor there. You can also turn that off, adjusted manually. You can change the backlight duration and a lot of little stuff like the record settings, how fine of data you want. Calibration of the altitude, so if you're somewhere where it maybe didn't get it right, you can adjust it. Points of interest, you can check your firmware. You can do full customization of each profile here. You don't really need the app unless you want to do it a little bit quicker or connect your workouts and routes. So you can actually adjust what it uses, so speed, GPS, or your cadence, so you can adjust how it uses your data. You can change your data pages. Tons of options here, and that's a nice thing about having a higher end unit. So I can have up to 10 data fields per page, 4 different pages, 2 different lap pages, and then the map view. and each one of them is fully customizable. So you can see different page configurations. So you can have more or less data. Once you pick that, you can then hold on the data field, click it, and then you have tons of options here. This is easier on the app as your phone is a little bit more responsive and larger screen. But you can see here I can do the same thing. And one thing I really like on here is the graphical display. And that's the nice thing about this color display. So I go to graph, and then speed ring is actually this little circular view, which I really like. So it'll show you average speed, current speed, maximum speed, in a much more intuitive way. And again, 4 pages, you can enable them, disable them, and it's really fully customizable. As far as the interactions on the computer, mostly you can see you can touch left, swipe left and right to switch the pages. And as I just showed you earlier, you can hold on one and then click again to edit it. You can swipe up and that'll take you to your home page. And then again, long tap to change the data. With the zooming, we'll get out of this and then we'll show you that. So touching anywhere on the data pages brings up quick status page. Right now it shows my paired sensors and the battery status. You can change that. You can fully customize this to whatever you want. You can swipe left and right. And then the map view is pretty cool too. So with this map view, you can actually pan around, zoom. So unlike a cell phone where you can do pinch, there's only a 1-finger operation, no multi-touch. But you select panning, you can pan, click on the little plus minus. So really simple to use. You can adjust how north is done. And unlike the 750, it's a lot more responsive as well. And then otherwise, swiping up and down, swipe up back to home. So really easy to use, and with 4 buttons here, everything's duplicated. So if you go to your main page, you can just click that to go through, start and stop your ride. You can lock the screen. So with 1 button press, and then 1 button press to unlock it, you can do laps. So a nice overall unit and pretty intuitive. Now let's take a look at the Bryton on the road. Here we have it mounted on a road bike with the out front mount, so it puts it right in front of the stem. We also really like the startup and shutdown sounds of the Bryton. They're pretty pleasant little dings. So when you're riding, you can usually just start riding and press record, or you can do your pre-recorded route. So here we're going to load our pre-recorded route for this day's ride, and you can see processing very fast. Shows you a full overview of the route, the distance, and once you've loaded it, you can even do navigation to the start, but you do need a connection to your cell phone to do rerouting. So you can see once it's fully loaded, you see the route on the map. You have the climb view, which will start showing climbs once you get closer. And then as you start riding, my other favorite feature is the reminder to start recording, because it's easy to forget. So once it detects motion and you haven't pressed record, it will bring up a reminder. This is a setting you can actually adjust. So you can adjust the frequency of how much it reminds you, or if it reminds you at all. So you can see after a few seconds it reminds you, you press record, and now you're recording the full ride. Now the other feature here is the climb view. That's a really nice feature that makes climbing a lot more fun. So here you can see we're mid-climb. Tells us how much we have left, a full altitude map with color coding. So you can see we're mid-climb, and you can still see turn-by-turn directions on any view. That's a big improvement over the previous version, and gives you the amount of feet or meters left before that turn. So you can see as you approach it, it tells you, and it gives you the full street name. It's not just a distance and turn here. So much more intuitive, and the map constantly updates as you go. And again, that climb view automatically activates, and you can really customize that page as well if you need to. Now let's take a look at the Bryton app. You need the app to do a lot of the third-party syncing and to set up workouts and routes. Now compared to Garmin, the Bryton Active App isn't quite as nice, but it has a lot of similar features, and they've done a lot of work on it over the years. You basically have 4-page navigation on the bottom. You have your activity view, a ad view where you can do routes and workouts. You can set up a user account and then sync third-party applications such as Strava, which is a really nice feature. It'll auto-upload. And then this is where you can do the settings. So first thing you want to do is connect your device. And this is also how you can do the firmware updates, which is always something nice to do as they always update things. So you confirm you want to add it. And now you have pretty much all the same customization as you have on the actual GPS computer, and it's easier to do because you have the nice bigger phone to do it with. So you can change the auto syncing, You can do the full layout as far as the general features too. So sound, language, the odometer, bike settings. So here we have bike 1, and this is the only place you can actually change the name of the bike profile since there's no keyboard on the little Bryton GPS. So this is where I'll change it to tarmac, which is my specialized tarmac. I can change the actual grid setting. So it's a lot easier to do here than on the device since you have a larger display. So I'm going to do the 5A. Now I can click on here and you can see tons of options here. Millions of ways of showing heart rate, temperature, cadence, even pedal analysis, everything. So I usually like doing the graph views, which again is something nice about the higher end Bryton computers. Press done, and then you'll have speed ring, and then everything else listed here. I like to change this to cadence. So we'll go find cadence. And you can see do average, max, lap. So a lot of options. That's what's really nice about higher end computers. You can really customize the display. So once you're happy with that, you can adjust which pages you see, the map view. And then the main reason to use the app is to set up the route. So let me show you that. So if you go to my route, you can see I've already saved 2 of them on here. So you can actually interrogate them, look at the turn info, add points of interest, which is really good. So if you know if there's a water spot or a good like food spot, you can add it. There's also climbs, and this is actually part of the climb on this route on Higgins Canyon. And you can see it automatically marks it. You can go ahead and actually adjust it too. So if you want to adjust the position slightly, you can do that. And then you can also add more climbs. So you can see you can do add climbs. So a nice feature. It is a little bit cumbersome here, so I usually just leave the default. But once it's set up, it's automatically there. And then you can just do upload as route, and you can do that on the bike. So you can go to courses here, route, and then we can make these available. So I can press a button, it'll upload it to it. And now you can see when I go on the GPS, the Higgins shows up. So a really cool feature. You can also create new routes here, and you have quite a few options. You can do it manually, third-party links, or even from previous rides, which is a really nice feature. So if you've already done a ride, you can just do that. So here you can actually create a new one by just dropping pins. Now it's a little bit annoying because you kind of have to drop them. There's no adjustment here, so once you've dropped one, it's a little bit cumbersome to remove, so you have to go back, delete it, edit it. That's why this app is not quite as nice as the Garmin, and it's better just to use a third-party upload where you can really configure the ride and then just upload it directly here. The other thing you can do is workouts, and that's a nice feature about the S500. So you can see there's some preset ones in here. So interval training is a great option. You can see you can adjust the targets on here. So you can download it to your device when you're ready. And then it's basically these little sections where you can adjust. So we can add new ones. So I think this one's already set. We can create a new one. So plan a workout. And you have tons of options here. So again, a little bit more cumbersome to set up versus third-party tools, but nice thing is you can also import things. But you can see it gives you tons of options, and then you can rearrange them as needed. The only complaint I have about this app is it's not quite complete. So if you go back, they have little bugs such as the favicon actually missing. So you'll see the icons missing. And sometimes this actually shows up with Chinese text in the notification, which is a little bit weird. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the S500. What we like about it is it has a very competitive price. Although it's not particularly cheap, it's a lot more affordable than the equivalent Garmin or Wahoo units given all the features. It also has a improved touchscreen brightness and sensitivity, so it's very responsive and it automatically adjusts to your environment. And finally, the climb challenge mode really makes climbing a lot more fun. You know how long you have left, you can see the full gradient. So it makes it more game-like and you can really track your progress. Some of the cons for the computer is the fact that it does have large bezels. Would have been nice if they were a little bit trimmer on the top and bottom. Also, navigation can have some false turn notifications. It seems like every waypoint you put on there ends up being a turn, so even on a straight road. And the Bryton Active App does have some minor usability issues. It just lacks that polish you'd see on a Garmin unit, although it is quite useful. Taking everything into account, we'd give the Bryton S500 9.0 out of 10. It's a responsive, intuitive GPS computer. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at The Sweet Cyclists. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.